Picture this. You're dying in excruciating pain, nails piercing through your flesh, gasping for every breath. In your final moments, would you find the strength to forgive? Would you discover hope when death seems certain? One man did exactly that, and his story of divine mercy and ultimate forgiveness has transformed millions of lives for over 2,000 years. Today, we're diving deep into the extraordinary account of Saint Dismas, the good thief who found salvation in his darkest hour and taught the world that redemption is possible until our very last breath. Chapter 1. The historical context of crucifixion. The year was approximately 33 AD, and the Roman Empire had perfected the art of public execution through crucifixion. This wasn't just a method of killing, it was psychological warfare designed to break the human spirit before breaking the body. Archaeological evidence from first-century Palestine reveals that crucifixion victims could survive for days, slowly suffocating as their muscles weakened and their lungs filled with fluid. On this particular Friday morning, 3 crosses stood against the Jerusalem skyline at a place called Golgotha, meaning the place of the skull. The Romans deliberately chose this location for maximum visibility. Every person entering or leaving the holy city would witness the brutal spectacle. What they didn't anticipate was that this execution would become the most significant moment in human history. The central cross bore Jesus of Nazareth, condemned for claiming to be the king of the Jews. To his right and left hung 2 men whose names history barely remembers, except for one. These weren't petty thieves caught stealing bread. The Greek word lestes, used in the original text, suggests they were violent revolutionaries, possibly members of the Zealot movement that fought against Roman occupation. If you're finding this historical deep dive fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We explore incredible stories of faith, redemption, and divine intervention every week. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn that would echo through eternity. Chapter 2. The Moment of Recognition. As the morning sun climbed higher over Jerusalem, something extraordinary began to unfold on those crosses. While one criminal hurled insults and blasphemies at Jesus, demanding miraculous rescue, the other, tradition calls him Dismas, experienced a profound spiritual awakening that defied all human logic. What's remarkable about Dismas's transformation isn't just the timing, but the depth of his theological understanding in those final hours. He didn't just recognize Jesus as innocent. He grasped concepts that even the apostles struggled with. He understood divine kingship, eternal paradise, and the power of intercessory prayer, all while enduring unimaginable physical torment. The contrast between the 2 thieves reveals something profound about human nature and divine grace. Both men faced identical circumstances, identical pain, identical proximity to Christ. Yet one chose mockery, while the other chose faith. Dismas's words, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom," demonstrate a level of spiritual insight that theologians have marveled at for centuries. Perhaps most astounding is Jesus' immediate response, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." No probation period, no penance required, no religious ceremonies, just instant, complete forgiveness. This single exchange revolutionized Christian understanding of salvation and continues to offer hope to anyone who feels beyond redemption. Chapter 3. The Theology of Last-Minute Salvation. The story of Saint Dismas challenges every human assumption about justice, fairness, and earned salvation. Here was a man who had lived a life of violence and crime, yet in his final moments received the same promise of paradise that awaited the most devout saints. This wasn't just mercy, it was a complete redefinition of divine grace. Early church fathers like St. Augustine and St. John Chrysostom wrote extensively about the good thief, seeing in him proof that salvation depends not on the length of one's faith journey, but on the sincerity of one's repentance. Dismas became known as the first saint because he was the first person Jesus personally promised would enter paradise. What makes this story even more powerful is its historical authenticity. Unlike many religious accounts that developed over centuries, The crucifixion narrative appears in multiple independent sources and aligns perfectly with archaeological evidence about Roman execution practices. The details are too specific, too historically grounded to be mere legend. For those seeking deeper insights into the lives of saints and their powerful intercessions, we've compiled an incredible resource, our ebook, 50 Saints' Stories and Prayers for Divine Intervention. Features the complete life story and prayers of other remarkable saints. I'm sure this book can help you with your daily struggles. You can find this comprehensive guide in our store below, perfect for anyone wanting to explore these transformative stories of faith. But Dismas's story holds even more secrets that most people never discover. Chapter 4: The Ripple Effects Through History. The impact of Saint Dismas extends far beyond that Friday afternoon in Jerusalem. Throughout Christian history, his story has provided comfort to prisoners facing execution, soldiers dying in battle, and anyone confronting their final moments. Medieval knights carried prayers to Saint Dismas into combat, believing he would intercede for them if they faced death. During the Black Death that ravaged Europe in the 14th century, priests would recite the prayer of the good thief to dying plague victims, offering them the same hope Dismas found on his cross. Renaissance artists depicted him in countless paintings, always showing the moment of his spiritual transformation, that instant when despair turned to hope. What's particularly fascinating is how different cultures have embraced this story. In Eastern Orthodox tradition, Dismas is celebrated on the Sunday of the Holy Cross. Latin American Catholics invoke him as the patron saint of prisoners and those facing execution. Even Protestant reformers like Martin Luther pointed to the good thief as proof that salvation comes through faith alone, not works. Modern psychology has studied the Dismas phenomenon, how extreme circumstances can trigger profound spiritual experiences. Researchers have documented similar transformations in hospices, disaster zones, and even space missions, where proximity to death seems to unlock deeper spiritual awareness. Yet none match the theological significance of what happened on Golgotha 2,000 years ago. Conclusion. The story of Saint Dismas proves that redemption knows no boundaries, not of time, not of circumstance, not of past mistakes. In his final breaths, this condemned criminal became the first person to enter paradise through Christ's sacrifice, demonstrating that divine mercy can reach anyone, anywhere, at any time. His legacy challenges us to examine our own hearts. Who in our lives needs the forgiveness we're withholding? What crosses are we carrying that could become bridges to grace? The good thief reminds us that it's never too late to turn toward the light. Never too late to ask for remembrance in God's kingdom. If you've been moved by this incredible story of last-minute salvation and divine mercy, share this video with someone who needs to hear that hope is always possible. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories of faith that will strengthen your spiritual journey.